Hey everyone! Today, I want to share an amazing story about Ethan Voss, a guy who used to be a police officer. He had an extraordinary experience after he passed away and came back with some jaw-dropping insights from Jesus. Trust me, the revelation he made about prayer will absolutely blow your mind. But first things first, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell to stay updated. Alright, let's dive into this life-altering experience. So my name is Ethan Voss, and honestly I never thought I'd be here sharing this tale. If anyone had suggested a few years back that I'd undergo something so transformative, I would have had a good laugh. I mean, what could possibly surprise a former military police officer who has been through so much? I spent years in war zones, witnessing the darkest sides of humanity. There were things I saw that no one should ever have to see, and I made decisions that weighed heavily on my conscience. For a long time, I believed I had faced everything life could throw at me. I was tough, or at least I thought I was. I took pride in my physical and mental resilience, convinced that nothing could rattle me. But life has a way of turning things on their head. The true test didn't happen on any battlefield. It was all happening inside a hospital, far removed from the chaos I was used to. That's where I encountered the toughest fight of my life. It started off simply enough with what I thought was fatigue. I shrugged it off at first. Who doesn't get tired now and then, right? But as time went on, that weariness morphed into something much more serious, something that all my military training hadn't prepared me for. I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease that was slowly attacking my heart. In just a few months, I found myself confined to a hospital bed, battling not enemies outside, but my very own body. It was a quiet, unseen struggle, yet as fierce as any confrontation I had ever faced. And from that moment, my journey began, a journey into truly understanding what it means to live and pray. It took me to the brink of existence and brought me back, reshaping my views on life, death, and everything that lies in between. What I'm about to share is still something I'm trying to wrap my head around. You know, some experiences really challenge what we think we know about life. They stretch the boundaries of our understanding, and yet they feel incredibly genuine. I've got a story that's worth telling, not just for me, but for what it illustrates about our humanity. Buckle up. This is a trip that opened my eyes to the depths of love, faith, and what it means to be alive. Let me take you back to what seemed like an average night in the hospital. I had been there for weeks, feeling weaker by the day as I battled a relentless illness. The doctors were doing everything they could, but I noticed the concern in their eyes. They were running out of options, and that was hard to swallow. That evening, though, something changed. There was an unmistakable shift, as if every fiber of my being knew that a pivotal moment was approaching. I was so exhausted, it felt like I had hit rock bottom. Breathing became this Herculean task. Then, out of nowhere, a piercing pain shot through my chest. It felt as though someone had taken my heart and squeezed it tightly, truly overwhelming. Everything around me started to fade. Shapes and colors blurred into a soft mist. I could hear the muffled beeping of machines, mixed with the hurried chatter of the medical team, but it all felt so distant, like I was tuned into a faint radio signal. My eyelids were heavy, wanting nothing but to close. But that's when everything changed. In my struggle to cling to life, I sensed something breaking free from within me. It was bizarre, a gentle tug that pulled me away from my physical self. Suddenly, I was hovering above the bed. It was surreal. I looked down to see my body lying still, surrounded by frantic doctors and nurses. It was like a scene straight out of a film where I was just an observer, completely detached from it all. Strangely, I wasn't scared at all. In fact, there was this profound sense of calm washing over me. I watched everything unfold with an almost curious detachment, realizing that none of it truly mattered at that moment. I saw the doctors trying to revive me with the defibrillator, saw their concerned faces and beads of sweat as they fought to restart my heart. But there I was, floating above it all, feeling a disconnection that was enlightening. And then it struck me, something enormous was taking place. My body was faltering, yes, but there was this sense that my very essence was on the verge of a monumental change. Suddenly I sensed something compelling me forward. It wasn't tangible, more like an unseen force, almost like the universe itself reaching out to me. I felt an irresistible urge to follow it. Without hesitating, I let myself be swept along. My surroundings, the hospital room, my physical self, the doctors, began to fade away. I was soon engulfed by pure darkness, an overwhelming void that consumed everything around me. In that instant, I realized I had stepped beyond the familiar. I was no longer among the living, yet I hadn't reached any final resting place either. I found myself existing in a liminal space, a realm where the conventional rules of reality simply didn't apply. This was where my real journey commenced, a path that would force me to face not just my own mortality, but the very essence of what it meant to exist. The darkness enveloping me was a sensation I had never encountered before. It was more than just the absence of light. It felt like a complete void. No sounds, no sensations, nothing at all, just stark emptiness. Initially, this lack of any sensory input threw me off balance. I couldn't tell if I was moving or motionless, if I had a body or was simply consciousness adrift. Time lost all meaning there. It was impossible to tell if seconds or centuries had slipped by. As I began to acclimate to this endless emptiness, something shifted within me. It wasn't visual or audible, but rather a profound instinct. It struck me that something essential was absent, something unseen and untouchable. Yet I had a sense it was there. That's when I realized what I yearned for, the presence of God. This insight struck me hard. I had never been overly religious, yet in that moment I felt an acute longing for that divine connection. Something deep inside shifted at that realization. Years of emotional armor, all the walls I had built, began to crumble. For the first time in ages, I felt raw and exposed. In that vulnerability, something unexpected happened. I found myself praying, not in any formal way, but as a silent, heartfelt plea from my soul, a desperate yearning for connection and purpose. As if my cry was heard, I perceived a change. In the heart of that relentless darkness, a tiny point of light appeared. It was distant and faint, almost too small to notice, but it marked the start of something profound. Initially, I dismissed it as mere figments of my imagination. Yet, gradually, that light continued to grow, not harsh or piercing, but gentle and inviting. There was an energy radiating from it that pulled me in, almost as if it were beckoning me. Without a second thought, I found myself drawn forward. How I traversed that endless void was a mystery, but every part of me ached for that light, feeling as if it were summoning me to something profound. As I drew nearer, the light stretched out, enveloping my entire vision. The vast emptiness around me began to fade, replaced by a warmth and sense of belonging I had never known before. In that moment, I had a stunning realization. Prayer wasn't merely a set of words or phrases recited. It was a profound connection, a complete letting go. I came to understand that every act of compassion and every loving gesture served as a prayer in its own right. The light wrapped around me entirely, almost as if I were being embraced by something infinitely larger than myself. A pure, unconditional love washed over me, bringing tears that were not of sorrow, but of a joy that words couldn't capture. Within that radiant embrace, I felt all the fractured pieces within me mending, even those wounds I hadn't realized I carried. For the first time, I felt a sense of true belonging, and it was there, bathed in that glorious illumination, that I received a powerful message. Ethan, approach each day as a prayer. Your actions carry more weight than your words. The love you express to the world is the most profound form of prayer. This insight resonated deeply within me, transforming my understanding of life and my place within it. Amid that otherworldly light, I became aware of a presence. It wasn't something I could pinpoint visually or audibly. It transcended my physical senses. It felt like the essence of reality itself was unfolding to reveal something grander. At that moment, I recognized with absolute clarity that I stood in the presence of the divine. Not the God I had pondered in my fleeting thoughts about religion, but something far more profound, deeper, and embodying a love that exceeded any human comprehension. Our communication wasn't verbal. It unfolded as a seamless exchange of understanding, a sharing of consciousness that transcended spoken language. Every word felt heavy with meaning, and each sentence stretched into an endless pool of understanding. The depth of love surrounding me was breathtaking. It made me feel tiny, almost insignificant, yet it filled me with an immense sense of purpose that was hard to grasp. I realized I was merely a conduit for something far greater, just a droplet in the vast ocean of divine love. During this shared experience, I gained deep insights into the essence of existence. I began to perceive the universe not as a lifeless mechanism, but as a vibrant, living entity, alive with intention and awareness. Each atom, every speck of dust was infused with this divine love, all intricately woven into a cosmic blueprint that was far beyond human understanding. Life, I came to see, wasn't just a series of random happenings. It was a beautifully orchestrated path designed for the growth and evolution of every soul. Every trial, every moment of pain, and every joyous experience presented a chance to learn and expand in understanding. I also recognized the sacredness of free will. While God didn't invade our choices, He was always there, gently guiding us and showering us with unconditional love, regardless of our decisions. One of the most astonishing insights was recognizing the interconnectedness of everything. I saw that we are linked not only to one another but to all of creation itself. Every thought and action sent ripples through the universe, influencing the whole in ways we could scarcely imagine. In this sacred communion, time felt like an illusion. It could have been just a heartbeat or a whole lifetime passing. Who could really tell? Yet every moment was crammed with a knowing that surpassed anything I'd learned on Earth. As these cosmic realizations washed over me, an overwhelming wave of gratitude surged within. I felt thankful for life itself, for every experience that led me to this pinnacle moment. Then, out of nowhere, I was struck by an irresistible urge, a profound longing to see Jesus. This wasn't just a passing thought or a trivial curiosity. It was a deep soul yearning, a beckoning that came straight from my core. Almost as if responding to my silent plea, the divine presence around me began to shift, preparing me for a meeting that would transform my understanding of love, sacrifice, and divine purpose. The instant I voiced my desire to see Jesus, the light surrounding me magnified, bathing everything in a glow that felt otherworldly. It felt like reality was reshaping itself just for me. And then, in a moment, He appeared. The presence of Ethan Voss was something I had never felt before. He was enveloped in a brilliant light, yet it didn't overwhelm me. Instead, it cleared my sight, revealing him with a clarity that transcended mere sight. His expression radiated tranquility and a profound wisdom that enveloped me. There was a depth in his gaze, as if it held the secrets of the universe. But above all, what struck me most was the pure love that flowed from him, a love so genuine and unconditional that it made me feel cherished in a way I had never known. I attempted to fix his image in my mind, hoping to capture every detail of his face, but every time I tried, it eluded my memory. It was like his essence was too profound for my brain to hold on to. Nevertheless, I couldn't deny the weight of his presence. It was all-consuming. Ethan didn't use words to communicate. Rather, he revealed things to me through feelings and experiences. What he showed me remains etched in my mind forever. With a simple wave of his hand, Ethan led me through a journey of my own life. It felt like we were watching an incredibly vivid film, where I could feel every emotion and relive every moment as if it were happening right then. Oddly enough, it wasn't the times I thought I had succeeded or failed that resonated with me most. Instead, it was those moments when I justified causing pain to others that stood out sharply. Each instance I convinced myself that I was in the right, while hurting someone else filled me with profound grief. I felt the agony of recognizing the harm I had inflicted, even when I thought my actions were justified. This realization hit me hard. I saw that the gravity of my choices lay not in the actions themselves, but in the excuses I crafted to allow me to hurt people. I recognized how I had often leveraged my position, my strength, or my perceived moral high ground to inflict pain, assuring myself it was warranted or just. Yet Ethan didn't show me these things from a place of judgment. His look was filled with empathy and kindness, as if he wanted to convey, "See this, grasp it, and learn." And learn I did. I came to understand that each person I had hurt held the same worth in God's eyes as I did. During a moment of reflection, I discovered that real strength doesn't come from overpowering others. Rather, it lies in offering them unconditional love. As I continued this review of my life, I was guided by Jesus, who who imparted 3 vital lessons that forever changed me. The first thing he shared was the concept of living prayer. He illustrated that prayer goes beyond mere words. It's about how we live our lives. Every kind gesture, each act of love, serves as a prayer in itself. It's our actions that reflect our deep connection with God. Next, Jesus introduced me to the idea of embracing suffering with joy. He helped me see that suffering isn't a form of punishment, but an incredible chance to spread love and generosity even amidst the toughest times. He showed me how possible it is to confront hardship without letting bitterness take hold, turning pain into a pathway for growth and compassion. Finally, he revealed my mission: to share God's love. This was my new purpose, the reason I would return to earth. Once these lessons resonated within me, I felt a remarkable transformation. It was as if every part of my being was realigned, driven by this newfound sense of purpose. Looking at Jesus one last time, I couldn't find the words to express my gratitude. His smile radiated the kind of love that encompasses the universe, and in that moment, I sensed it was time for me to leave. When the thought of returning struck me, a gentle resistance stirred inside. Part of me wished to remain in such a serene, loving realm, yet another part, the part that now understood its mission, recognized that I still had work to do on earth. With a look full of compassion and understanding, Jesus impressed upon me that my journey wasn't finished. There were lives to touch, love to give, and lessons to impart. As I began to distance myself from his presence, I felt a soft pull drawing me back. It was an odd sensation, like swimming against a gentle current that knew precisely where I was meant to go. Gradually, as I walked away, the brilliant light that enveloped me began to fade, not abruptly but softly, reminiscent of a summer sunset. Slowly, shadows crept in, yet this darkness felt neither frightening nor empty. As I made my way through what felt like a long tunnel, memories of my past began to rush toward me like a rapid slideshow. It was strange. This time, those memories seemed different. My childhood, my military days, joyful and painful experiences, it all took on a fresh perspective now that I had gone through what I had. I thought about the people I had loved, as well as those I had hurt, and instead of feeling judgment, a wave of compassion washed over me for that younger Ethan. He was just trying to make sense of the world, unaware of how deeply his actions could resonate. Drawing closer to the tunnel's end, I began to hear sounds from the world beyond. Beeping machines in the hospital and the faint chatter of medical staff reached my ears, reminding me that my physical self was waiting for me. Then, out of nowhere, I caught sight of my own body on the hospital bed. It felt odd, almost like gazing at a familiar stranger. I couldn't help but pause. The thought of going back scared me. It meant enduring physical pain and dealing with the burdens of life once more. Yet the lessons I had gained were fresh in my mind, urging me forward. With a deep breath, I turned my attention back to my body. As I slipped back into it, the sensation was overwhelming. It felt like every part of me was awakening from a dream. A jolt of pain shot through my chest, a painful reminder of what had nearly claimed my life. Slowly, I blinked my eyes open, squinting against the harsh fluorescent lights of the hospital room. As my surroundings came into focus, I could hear the rhythmic beeping of heart monitors and other noises, whispers of surprise and relief from nearby voices. I attempted to speak, but my throat felt raw and dry from the breathing tube. Just then, a nurse rushed over, her face lighting up with a blend of shock and happiness. "He's back!" I heard her exclaim, calling out to someone else in the room. In a whirlwind of activity, a team of medical professionals surrounded me, checking my vitals and bombarding me with questions, each of them amazed by my unexpected return. But honestly, I barely caught what they were saying. My thoughts were still tangled up in the journey I had just experienced, the lessons learned, and the revelations gained. I had returned, yes, but the person who had come back was unrecognizable from the one who had left. I was reborn, filled with divine love and a newfound sense of purpose that surpassed anything I had envisioned before. In the days and weeks that followed, I found myself navigating a journey of readjustment, not just physically, but on spiritual and emotional levels as well. Despite feeling physically weak and still recovering from a serious illness, my spirit soared with a newfound strength. I was fueled by insights and a sense of purpose that went far beyond any bodily struggles. The doctors were scratching their heads, dubbing my progress as spontaneous remission or miraculous recovery. They were looking for scientific explanations, but what I experienced was something deeper, something that was hard to convey in mere words. I simply expressed my heartfelt gratitude toward them for their care, recognizing in each of them a glimpse of the divine love I had encountered during my journey. As I regained my physical health, I noticed a remarkable shift in how I viewed the world. The little irritations that used to bother me, like the loud honking of cars or someone moving too slowly in front of me, now felt trivial. Instead of annoyance, I began to feel genuine compassion for those around me, realizing that everyone is on their own unique path with struggles I might not understand. My perspective on life and death took a turn as well. The fear I once had about dying transformed into a sense of acceptance. I started seeing death as just another step, a transition into something more significant. This change didn't diminish my appreciation for life. In fact, it deepened it. Each moment became cherishing, an opportunity to bask in the love I had felt beyond. The ambitions that once drove me, career aspirations, chasing after wealth or status, suddenly seemed trivial. I found clarity on what truly mattered: love, service, and being a vessel for the divine in our world. It was like opening my eyes to a new lens of reality. Everywhere I looked, I discovered chances to spread kindness and love. A simple smile at a stranger, a comforting word for someone having a tough day, or lending a hand without expecting anything back. These became my daily offerings, my version of prayer, manifesting the lessons I had absorbed. This transformation also had a profound impact on my relationships. I reached out to those I'd wronged, asking for forgiveness. I rekindled friendships I had let slide. Each moment of connection turned into a chance to share love, not through lectures or judgments, but through genuine actions and a warm, compassionate spirit. Before I realized it, the beauty of nature started capturing my attention in ways it never had before. With every tree swaying, each blossom blooming, and the sunsets painting the sky, I felt an overwhelming sense of wonder, a reminder of a divine love that seems to flow through everything. I began carving out moments in my day to immerse myself in the great outdoors, forging a deep bond with the world around me. As I embraced this new perspective, my views on spirituality transformed completely. Rather than adopting a conventional religious path with rigid doctrines, I found a vibrant personal spirituality rooted in direct experiences. Prayer became as instinctive as inhaling. It shifted from formal rituals to an ongoing dialogue with the divine. I expressed my thoughts, actions, and intentions as an everyday conversation with something greater. However, this shift didn't magically eliminate life's hurdles. The physical pain still lingered, a constant nudge reminding me of our human vulnerability. Some people in my life struggled to comprehend the shift in my beliefs and attitudes, leading to moments of skepticism. There were times I wavered when the intensity of my newfound awareness started to fade amidst daily obligations. Yet, in those tough times, the love I had internalized kept me grounded. Every obstacle turned into a chance to practice what I had learned, opting for love and compassion, even when it was hard. Slowly but surely, I started living in a way that felt like a prayer itself, a flowing expression of the divine love within me that I wanted to share with the rest of the world. As I continued on this path, a growing urge welled up inside me to tell my story. This wasn't about seeking fame or recognition. It was about sharing the message of love and purpose that had been revealed to me. Initially, it was just my close circle, family and friends. Their responses varied widely. Some were shocked, others intrigued, a few were excited, while a couple were confused. Some embraced the transformation they saw in me right away, while others found it hard to grasp the depth of my journey. Gradually, more people began to listen to what I had to say. I found myself invited to speak at small gatherings, local churches, and community centers. Every time I shared my story, I felt a sense of fulfillment, like I was stepping into my purpose. Articulating such a profound experience was challenging. Capturing the depth of it in words often left me searching for the right way to express what I felt. I found it incredibly tough to articulate the profound experiences I'd gone through. I soon noticed that it wasn't just my words that made an impact. It was the transformation within me, the newfound peace, love, and compassion that seemed to resonate with those around me. As my story began to circulate, I received various offers to share my journey at bigger gatherings and different organizations. I had the chance to address healthcare professionals, aiming to present a fresh viewpoint on life and death. Additionally, I connected with support networks for individuals confronting terminal conditions, where I offered a glimmer of hope, along with a new way of looking at life's transitions. One of the highlights of this journey was engaging with fellow veterans and security personnel, sharing how my experiences reshaped my understanding of strength, bravery, and purpose. Many could relate to my story, finding parallels that helped them process their own challenges and uncertainties. Throughout this journey of sharing, I discovered something fascinating. My message struck different chords with each audience. For some, it reaffirmed their spiritual beliefs. For others, it prompted a reassessment of their views on life and mortality. And for many, it simply offered a narrative of hope and change. Of course, not everyone responded positively. I met with skepticism and even criticism from individuals who dismissed my experiences as mere hallucinations or fabrications. Certain scientific communities viewed my account through the lens of neurological functions during near-death experiences. Despite these negative reactions, I learned not to let them deter me. Everyone is on their own unique journey, and I realized my purpose was more about sharing my story than trying to persuade anyone. It was essential for me to respect where each person was on their path, rather than push my experiences or beliefs onto them. Instead, I began to present my story as a gift, something they could choose to embrace or not, depending on their personal readiness and understanding. Eventually, I began writing about my experiences. What began as a simple journal meant to help me sort through my thoughts and emotions gradually transformed into a full-fledged book. The writing process proved to be both challenging and healing. Each word pulled me back into those intense moments. Reflecting on this journey, I noticed how much sharing my experience enriched my understanding and solidified the lessons I had previously learned. When my book was finally out there, its reach exceeded my wildest dreams. People from various corners of the globe started reaching out through letters and emails. They expressed how my story had impacted them, providing hope during tough times or sparking meaningful change in their lives. What truly amazed me was how my tale resonated across different cultures and faiths. I received messages from individuals identifying as Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, and practitioners of many other beliefs. They all found something significant in what I shared. This made it clearer to me that the love I encountered was universal, cutting across specific beliefs and doctrines. As I engaged in conversations about my experience, I felt a transformation within myself. Each time I recounted my story or spoke with someone who found it touching, I integrated the lessons more profoundly. It was almost like sharing my journey reinforced my dedication to the purpose I was meant to fulfill. Through this process, I learned the value of being genuine and open. I didn't shy away from my doubts or the struggles I continue to face. In fact, being open about my vulnerabilities made my narrative more relatable. Rather than presenting myself as someone with all the solutions, I framed myself as a fellow traveler on this ongoing path of growth and discovery. One of the most meaningful moments for me was when I started receiving invitations to connect with individuals navigating their own near-death experiences or confronting terminal illnesses. It felt incredibly rewarding to provide them with comfort, hope, and a fresh outlook. I could sense I was genuinely fulfilling my purpose. As my story gained traction, I noticed subtle yet significant shifts among those around me. Friends and family began to reconsider their lives, seeking out ways to infuse more meaning and love into their daily routines. Even colleagues approached conflicts with a newfound compassion and understanding. I realized the ripples of my experience extended far beyond my own scope. By telling my tale, I was sparking changes that spread in ways I might not always see or grasp fully. Ultimately, the most significant takeaway from sharing my message was the constant reminder of the love and connection I had once felt so profoundly. Whenever I shared my experiences, I could see people's faces light up with understanding and hope, and in those moments I felt that incredible love within me once again. It was like a spiritual awakening that transformed sharing into a form of prayer, a way to keep that powerful moment alive in my life. Even though the peace and change I gained from my close call with death were profound, life post-experience brought its own set of difficulties. Ironically, the challenges seemed to amplify even as I evolved in how I handled them. One major hurdle came from the expectations of others. Many seemed to think I had turned into a saint, someone untouched by life's problems or flaws. When I occasionally showed frustration or fatigue, it surprised and disappointed some folks. I realized I had to juggle my extraordinary experiences with the everyday ups and downs of being human. Sure, I had gone through something remarkable, but I was still on a journey, still growing and learning. It became crucial for me to be gentle with myself when I fell short of what I or anyone else expected. Then there was the loneliness. Even though I felt a deep connection to both the divine and humanity, my new perspectives sometimes left me feeling isolated. It was hard for many to grasp what I'd been through, creating a sense of distance from even my closest friends. I had to make an effort to bridge this gap, seeking ways to communicate that resonated with others without diluting my own truth. It took patience, compassion, and a willingness to look deeper into each person's essence. Physically, I continued to face obstacles too. While I had made it through the life-threatening crisis, my body still carried the marks of that experience. I grappled with limitations and at times chronic pain. It was an ongoing lesson in acceptance, finding ways to embrace life fully despite what I couldn't do. Additionally, my perception of the material world shifted significantly, which added another layer of challenges I had to navigate. Reflecting on my journey since that pivotal night in the hospital, I can't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude. Life, with all its twists and turns, has offered me a chance to truly appreciate every moment. What I once thought was vital, career achievements, fancy possessions, or social recognition, now feels rather empty in comparison to the profound experiences I've had. It became clear to me that I needed to establish a new equilibrium, navigating this world without allowing its superficial demands to overwhelm me. One of the biggest hurdles I faced was managing the powerful waves of my spiritual experience. There were days when the feeling of divine love and connection with everything around me was so intense that it almost knocked me off balance. In those times, everyday life felt miles away. It was a real challenge to keep my footing. Gradually, I started to see these struggles as stepping stones for personal growth. Each moment of doubt or frustration offered a chance to apply what I had learned, to choose compassion over indifference, even when it was tough. To keep myself centered and connected, I developed daily routines. Things like meditation, prayer, and spending quiet time in nature became my lifelines, grounding me amid life's chaos and reminding me of the bigger picture I'd come to understand. A key insight from all this was the necessity of maintaining balance. I learned to juggle the spiritual and the everyday, to find harmony between giving and receiving, and to accept the world as it is, while also striving for positive change. True wisdom, I discovered, lies not in rejecting any part of the human experience, but in embracing it wholeheartedly with love. Moreover, I recognize that the journey of growth is never-ending. Each day unfolds new lessons and fresh opportunities to deepen my understanding and immerse myself further in that divine love I had felt so profoundly. That near-death experience? It wasn't the conclusion. It marked the start of a lifelong adventure of self-discovery and transformation. So here I am, still on this path, navigating challenges and celebrating successes along the way. Every moment is a dance of learning and growth, a chance to express the divine love I now know is the true essence of existence. Ever since I had that incredible experience, my life has been all about exploring and re-exploring what it means to truly live. Each day presents fresh chances to embody the lessons I've picked up along the way. Sometimes it's a smooth ride, and other times, well, challenges seem to leap out of nowhere. On those tougher days, when that special moment feels far away, I pause and remind myself, every breath I take is a prayer, and every single action offers a chance to show love. One major realization I've had is that spirituality is woven into the fabric of daily life. It's not just reserved for meditative moments or formal prayers. It's part of how we live and engage with the world around us. Every little interaction, each choice we make, is a moment to connect with our truest selves. And let's talk about love. The pure, unconditional kind I experienced is so much more than a distant concept. It's a powerful force that can change lives. I witnessed this transformation not only within my own journey, but also in many others who connected with my story. People found sparks of hope during their darkest times, discovered courage amid their fears, and uncovered purpose in what once felt like an empty existence. Reflecting on reality has also been profound for me. My experience opened my eyes to the idea that existence is layered and complex, far beyond what's simply visible or tangible. This realization doesn't lessen how much I value my earthly life. In fact, it amplifies it. Each moment we have is a chance for growth, love, and making a positive impact. As for death, what used to fill me with dread has transformed into something I now view as a transition, an entry into something even richer. This shift in perspective doesn't lead me to undervalue life. Instead, it fuels my appreciation for every second, knowing how unique and precious each experience is. Looking back on my journey, I can see how every challenge, each moment of uncertainty or hardship, has actually served as a stepping stone for my growth. The physical limitations I encountered taught me the virtues of patience and acceptance. Times when I felt misunderstood prompted me to cultivate compassion and empathy. Even the doubts that crept in deepened my faith, making it more genuine and robust. I often find myself reflecting on how everything in this world is connected. My experiences have made it clear that we're not isolated beings. We all share a bond that transcends understanding. This realization is powerful and carries a significant weight. We have a duty to treat everyone and everything with love and respect. When I think about what lies ahead, I feel a blend of humility and determination. Humility reminds me that there's so much more for me to learn and so many ways I can grow. At the same time, I'm driven by a purpose. Each day presents a fresh chance to embody that love I've felt and to let it flow into the world around me. Honestly, the future is a mystery to me. I'm not sure how many more sunrises I'll see, but I do know that every day is a precious gift. It's a chance to create change, to share love, and to truly embrace life. For anyone following my journey, I want to share this straightforward message. Love is incredibly real. It stands as the strongest force in the universe, accessible to each of us whenever we choose to reach for it. You don't need to go through a life-altering event to find it. It's present right now, just waiting for us to notice. My path is still unfolding. Each day brings with it new adventures and lessons in love and growth. With every breath I take and every heartbeat, I feel compelled to share this profound message. Treat each day like a sacred prayer. Love without boundaries and strive to be a vessel for the divine. This, I believe, is the essence of why we are here. As I wrap up my story, I won't say the journey ends here. In fact, it's a continuous road filled with love and endless surprises that teach and inspire us in myriad ways. If you found resonance in this heartfelt testimony, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any new content. Let's work together to spread this message far and wide. Until next time.